and welcome to a new episode of Healthcare Nation. Recently, researchers have completed a 2-year test of an electronic care planning and documentation tool. The web-deployed test took place at 4 different local hospitals and was not connected to each organization's electronic health record. The tool proved beneficial to the nurses in the facilities, but was ultimately removed from these organizations. A new integrated system was chosen over the tool and is currently being used in those hospitals. This event led to significant dissatisfaction of the nursing staff. Here today, we have one nurse and IT professional from each of these organizations to discuss what went wrong in the case. Okay, so we'll just get right into it. Here today we have Ritam, who is a nurse at one of the hospitals that recently conducted this test. So I just have a few questions for you, if you wouldn't mind. So how do you feel about the results of the test?
Oh, I think the test was completed really successfully. I'm speaking on behalf of the other nurses as well. I'm not just here representing myself. It was a very seamless system, and it provided a new way of evaluating how our care actually affects the patient and benefits them. And I think that's one of the greatest things about this.
Oh, that's incredible. So, what is your feelings about the Chief Health Information System decision makers on choosing the integrated system over the tool?
Oh, well, the nurses and I advocate for the tool, and they have promised us that this integrated system is going to provide the same functionality, and it's going to be the same thing, essentially. So I have full confidence in them and believe in their choice. Next
up, we have Gurjot, who's an IT professional at one of the institutions. Healthcare Nation. Today we have Gurjot, who we were just speaking about, the IT professional at one of the hospitals. I just have one really big question for you. Why did you decide to use the integrated system over the tool?
Well, you see, it's essential for an organization to have an integrated system because the tool didn't have the ability to connect to the electronic health record because the tool didn't initially provide the functionality that the nurses wanted or hoped for.
Oh, okay, I understand. Well, thanks. Hello, and welcome to a new special episode of Healthcare Nation. Today, we will be discussing health informatics. It has now been 5 years since the 2-year test was conducted at 4 local hospitals in our area. Nurses were lied to by IT, and the new integrated system failed to provide similar functionality of the tool as it was promised. Today, we will discuss how health informatics identifies the human and societal need that was initially trying to be addressed by IT and the nurses. We will also discuss the issues associated and the steps that can contribute to the solution of this problem. So here again we have Ritam 5 years later. I just wanted to know, how did things end up the way they are now?
Not very well. I trusted IT, like I said before, and I didn't ask for evidence. So it never actually ended up happening. I carried on using their system thinking that the functionality would appear sooner or later, which it has not. The system now, it doesn't provide any of the benefits that there were before.
Oh, wow.
And so I use the system only to the standard I'm required to input. And this isn't just me, it's all the nurses as well as me. So the system is no longer for to assure quality of patient care anymore.
In health informatics, this issue relates to system procurement as found in the Managing Healthcare Information Systems book, listed at the end of the episode. In this case, there was failure to involve nurses and their uses of the tool extensively during the decision-making process. Nurses should have had ample opportunity to express their input in the selection of the tool or the integrated system. The decision makers operated outside of their scope of knowledge and discounted vital input of the nurses. Joe, I just have one quick question for you. How do you think the situation ended up how it did?
Well, you see, we didn't focus on the nurses' needs because we were more focused on having a connected electronic health record system, which we believed would have provided benefit healthcare in the best possible way. We also made the mistake of promising them something that we couldn't deliver at the end of the day. And overall, when the model system was studied, it was common knowledge that the implementing care plan and the documentations was going to be problematic.
The issue here has to do with deciding between best-of-breed systems and an integrated system. Nurses believed that the tool, a best-of-breed system, would provide better care for the patient, whereas IT thought that an integrated system would provide better care for the patient. IT failed to recognize the complexity of the very costly decisions which they were charged by the limitations of their knowledge. IT couldn't make the best decision in this case. As Reflex states, the reference will be at the end of the episode, you really need to know what the best decision is for your business. There is a difference between efficient and being effective. IT wanted to be efficient and disregarded the nurses' opinions, and the integrated system failed at being effective. There was a huge issue with communication here. How do you think that affected the situation?
Well, there was an incredible lack of sufficient communication between myself and IT. So I lacked information about the new system. I made assumptions about what an integration system would do, and I didn't have the complete information, which I could have gotten by IT if I had just spoken to them. There wasn't a clear dialogue between me and IT, and because of this, I made assumptions. I believed them. I didn't ask for evidence. All this stuff accumulated, and then that's why the situation is as messy as it is.
As stated in the study, Improving Patient Safety Through Provider Communication Strategy Enhancements by Catherine Dingley et al., reference can be found at the end of the episode, I quote, "The researchers found that communication problems were relatively straightforward and fell into 4 categories. 1. Communications that were too late to be effective. 2. Failure to communicate with all the relevant individuals on a team. 3. Content that was not consistently complete and accurate. And 4. Communications whose purposes were not achieved. For example, issues were left unresolved until the point of urgency. All this relates to the problems in communication between IT and nurses." Now, myself, Gurjot and Ratam will discuss system procurement and some activities we think as health informatics professionals will aid organizations in choosing a system that they need.
If you need more detail because you're facing this issue, you can refer to the book Managing Healthcare Information Systems, A Practical Approach for Healthcare Executives by C. Dingley et al.
Ratam and I will go through the activities that an organization can do to help you choose a system. One activity an organization can do is determine system goals and requirements. Parties involved can make clear decisions based on goals and requirements that they have chosen to meet the needs of an organization. They can use this to keep the project on task and refer to it at any time during the process. In this case, if IT had goals, specifications, and the needs of the nurses, they could have made a better decision when choosing the system.
Another activity that an organization can do is establish a project steering committee and appoint a strong project manager to lead the effort. In this case, there was a team of decision makers which had IT involved, but they lacked the clinical aspect or the people that were actually directly using the system. By having input of everybody who's affected, they'll be able to make a more clear and definite choice when deciding upon a system.
All issues discussed in this case relate to an underlying problem, which is, when organizations choose their systems, they will always have to make a decision. Thus, the human and societal need is that the decision has to be made.